Dive into a world where communication is direct, honest, and compassionate. Welcome to the realm of radical candor. Today we embark on an exploration of Kim Scott's revolutionary book, Radical Candor. This isn't just another self-help book. Instead, it's an indispensable guide that redefines the way we communicate in our personal and professional lives. Imagine a world where people communicate with clarity and empathy, where there's no room for misunderstanding or misinterpretation. That's the world Radical Candor creates. The book's core premise is simple yet profound. It encourages us to be forthright and compassionate in our interactions, leading to stronger relationships and greater mutual understanding. In the modern era, our communication skills are more important than ever. With technology bringing people closer together, yet paradoxically driving us apart, Radical Candor offers a much-needed solution to the communication challenges of the 21st century. In a world where communication often lacks clarity and empathy, Radical Candor shines a guiding light. Radical Candor is built upon two pillars: care personally and challenge directly. In the realm of communication, these two principles are the cornerstones that keep the structure of Radical Candor standing firm. They encourage an atmosphere of both empathy and honesty, fostering a culture of open dialogue and mutual respect. Let's delve into the first principle: care personally. It's not just about showing sympathy or being nice, it's about genuine human connection. It's about building relationships that are rooted in a deep understanding of each other's aspirations, strengths, and even weaknesses. It's about taking the time to understand the people around us, to listen to their stories, to share in their joys and their struggles. It's about showing that we care about them as individuals, not just as colleagues or team members. The second principle, challenge directly, is equally important. It's about having the courage to say what needs to be said, even if it's uncomfortable or difficult. It's not about being harsh or critical, but about being honest and direct. It's about providing constructive feedback that helps people grow and improve. It's about speaking the truth, even when it's hard. Now let's bring these principles to life with a story from the book. Imagine a team leader who notices that one of her team members, let's call him John, has been underperforming. Instead of ignoring the issue or sugarcoating her feedback, she decides to apply radical candor. She takes John aside, expresses her concern about his performance, and offers specific, constructive feedback on how he can improve. But she doesn't stop there. She also listens to John's perspective, understands the challenges he's facing, and offers her support. In this way, she embodies both principles of radical candor. She cares personally about John, and she challenges him directly to improve. When we care personally and challenge directly, we open doors to meaningful, productive conversations. By embracing these two principles, we can transform the way we communicate, leading to stronger relationships, better performance, and a more positive work culture. In the landscape of communication, Radical Candor creates 4 quadrants. These quadrants serve as a compass, guiding us through the complex world of interpersonal relationships. They're not just theoretical constructs, but practical tools that can help us improve our communication skills and build healthier relationships. The first quadrant, Radical Candor, is the sweet spot. This is where open, honest communication thrives. It's about caring personally and challenging directly. In this quadrant, we're not afraid to tell the truth, but we do it with empathy and respect. We care enough to point out flaws, but we also appreciate the person's worth. It's like when Kim Scott, the author, received candid feedback from her boss at Google. It was hard to hear, but it helped her grow. Then, we have ruinous empathy. This quadrant is all about caring personally, but failing to challenge directly. We're kind-hearted, yes, but we avoid hard truths to spare feelings. This often leads to stagnation and unresolved issues. It's like that time when Scott failed to address a colleague's consistent tardiness, which ultimately led to bigger problems. Next is obnoxious aggression. Here we challenge directly but lack personal care. We're brutally honest, often to the point of being hurtful. It's like that boss who points out every single mistake without considering the impact on morale. The last quadrant is manipulative insincerity. This is the most dangerous territory. Here we neither care personally nor challenge directly. We're insincere and manipulative, often playing politics to serve our own interests. It's like that coworker who always says what you want to hear, but behind your back, it's a different story. Each of these quadrants represents a potential pitfall or pinnacle in our communication. Falling into the wrong quadrant can lead to misunderstanding, resentment, or even deceit. But by striving for radical candor, we can foster an environment of honesty, respect, and growth. Understanding these quadrants helps us navigate our conversations more effectively, so let's keep them in mind as we continue to explore the world of radical candor. Radical candor is not a theory, it's a practice. This statement rings true when we delve into how to apply radical candor in our day-to-day interactions. Implementing radical candor is not just about being brutally honest. It involves a careful balancing act of caring personally while challenging directly. Let's consider an example from the book where Kim Scott, the author, shares her experience at Google. Sheryl Sandberg, her boss at the time, gave her some feedback after a presentation. Sheryl complimented Kim on what went well, but also mentioned that Kim said, a lot, which made her sound unsure. Initially, Kim shrugged it off, but Sheryl persisted, explaining that it was undermining Kim's credibility. This was radical candor in action. Sheryl showed that she cared personally about Kim's success, but she also challenged directly by not shying away from giving tough feedback. To implement radical candor in our lives, we need to master two key elements: care personally and challenge directly. Care personally is about showing empathy and understanding towards the other person. It's not about being nice or avoiding conflict. It's about genuinely caring for the other person's growth and success. On the other hand, challenge directly is about not sugarcoating the truth. It's about giving honest, constructive feedback even when it's uncomfortable. It's about having the courage to point out problems and suggest improvements. When these two elements combine, radical candor emerges. It is the sweet spot between being brutally honest and empathically caring. It's not about being mean or nice. It's about being clear, direct, and kind, all at the same time. Remember, implementing radical candor is not a one-time thing. It's a continuous practice, a habit that we need to cultivate in our interactions. The more we put it into practice, the more natural it becomes. In essence, radical candor is about fostering better relationships through honest and caring conversations. It's about breaking down walls of miscommunication and building bridges of understanding. The practice of radical candor can transform our conversations, and in turn, our relationships. Radical candor resonates because it's about real meaningful communication. It's the kind of communication that goes beyond the superficialities of everyday banter and breaks through the barriers of fear, hesitation, and complacency that often plague our interactions. This book has struck a chord with many readers, not just because it's a practical guide to effective communication, but because it fundamentally changes how we perceive and approach our interactions with others. It encourages us to step out of our comfort zones, to be brave enough to say what we mean, and compassionate enough to listen with an open heart. Radical candor has had a particularly profound impact on workplace communication. In an environment where the fear of conflict or the desire to maintain a professional facade often leads to miscommunication, the principles of radical candor offer a refreshing change. It promotes a culture of open, honest dialogue where feedback is not just welcomed but actively sought out. Many readers have reported that implementing radical candor in their workplaces has led to more effective teams, happier employees, and a more positive work environment. One reader shared, "After reading Radical Candor, I started practicing its principles in my team. The result was astounding. Our productivity increased, and the overall team morale improved significantly." But the impact of radical candor doesn't stop at the office door. It extends to our personal lives as well. By encouraging honest, compassionate communication, it has helped readers improve their relationships with friends, family, and partners. A reader testifies, "Radical candor has changed my life. It has made me a better listener, a better friend, and a better partner. It has taught me that true connection comes from honesty and compassion." The broader impact of this book goes beyond its readers. It's a call to change the way we communicate, a challenge to replace fear and hesitation with honesty and empathy. Through radical candor, we're not just learning how to talk, we're learning how to connect, how to build meaningful relationships, and how to create an environment where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. Radical candor has the power to change not just how we talk, but how we connect. In a world hungry for genuine connection, radical candor offers a feast. This book serves as a compelling guide to open, honest, and direct communication, a skill that's invaluable in both our personal and professional lives. Throughout our discussion, we've delved into the core principles of radical candor, exploring its 4 quadrants, and how they influence our interactions. We've also looked at practical strategies for implementing radical candor, understanding its transformative power in fostering healthier and more productive relationships. The impact of this approach is profound, as it fosters empathy, understanding, and productivity, breaking down barriers and fostering genuine connections. Remember, radical candor isn't about being harsh or unkind. It's about caring personally while challenging directly. It's about the courage to say what needs to be said, and the grace to hear what we might not want to. Radical candor invites us to say what we mean, hear what we might not want to, and create conversations that matter. It's not just about communication, it's about connection.